a moment, um, this whole house is a bit of a bloodbath right now. Because with the various bodies of the Zentrum that are all over the first and second floor, and the guards that the Grauhunds had all over the second floor, first and second floors, and the Grauhunds themselves, and then there was also those Drow, and yeah, it's a bit of a mess. And of course, Orond Grauhund, who you killed, is dead. Yala Grauhund is unconscious. She's knocked out on the floor in the middle of the room. So you all are kind of left, standing here for a moment. There were those couple of drow that kind of levitated away and ran off into the distance. There was also the half orc bodyguard that Yala had that had kind of ran off after some of the uh, drow as they were escaping down the street. But otherwise, I mean, everything that you can see is dead or unconscious. So the room right now, like most of you are here in this kind of main master bedroom here on the second floor of the villa. So in here, you've got, like here's the balcony just outside of it. A couple of the windows that went out to the balcony are smashed through. That happened during the course of the fight. In here, you've got, there's that kind of large tub to the north. There's like a fireplace over on the east, and like a nice bed with like a large wooden trunk at the foot of the bed, and then like a tall mahogany wardrobe that's kind of against the north wall of the room, next to the door that led out to the balcony. So there is a door to the south that you haven't opened yet, on this floor, but you don't hear any other motion, at least so far, in here. And so you're just kind of standing amidst the uh, gore of this room. And the room yourselves, like it's been kind of a long, it was kind of a long fight slogging through this place. And seemingly you have the villa to yourselves for the moment until until somebody's alerted the guards and they show up, but you aren't really sure if anybody happened to have done that yet. But yeah. Oh yeah, Urshel Floxton's still alive. He's tied up and nearly dead in the guest, or not in the guest, in the kind of washing room to the west of you in a corner. You guys had beaten him up pretty hard and tied him up and got some information out of him. So yeah, Villa is yours for the moment. What do you want to check out?
He's strongly hinting that we should check it out while we can.
Alrighty. I'll come down to that door and see what's in here.
Okay. So you go down to that southern door, and this door is locked.
Well, I'm gonna try to knock it open.
Okay. Just trying to smash through it?
Yep.
Okay.
You want a strength check?
Strength check away. Okay.
Damn.
So Jinku, you're a little beat up from the fight that you guys had, and this door is locked, and you're just kind of like wanting to get this over with and run headlong at the door, trying to smash through it like the couple other doors you smashed through already in this place. But you might have had enough door smashing for the day, and it didn't quite it didn't quite work that time.
Alright, I'm gonna take a couple deep breaths, kind of hype myself up, and try again.
Real quick, while she winds up to try again, can I touch my hand against the door and cast knock on it?
Yeah, you can.
To unlock it before she hits it?
Sure.
Watch I roll another horrible number.
Sure.
Son of a bitch!
Well, so you do, come smashing into the door, but since Boo kind of surreptitiously cast knock on it while you were kind of riling yourself up there, there wasn't too much holding it shut, and it kind of flies all the way open, kind of bonks against the stone wall on the other side, and you find yourself, Jinku, inside another room with a few. There's 3 beds across the south wall, and there's also an empty cradle against the eastern wall. There's a few kind of short, small wardrobes. There's some rugs. There's some desks, and the bed in the southwest corner, kind of cowering behind it, are 2 small children.
Hey guys, you might want to come in here.
A boy and a girl.
Ziara!
As you're kind of standing there and calling to Ziara, the boy, he's obviously very frightened, visibly trembling. Kind of calls out to you and says, "Who are you? What did you do with my parents? Who are you?"
Ah, crap. We're like, guys, these people got kids.
Well, should we deal with them as witnesses or what?
I'm sure somebody would buy them.
Yeah, that would be better than killing them, I suppose.
Well, I mean, their mother's still alive. She's just knocked out.
True.
Oh,
We
Yeah.
only killed the dad.
Yeah, you only blasted the dad in the back. The mother's still alive because Jinku specifically said that she was knocking her out, not killing her. So she is unconscious in the middle of the master bedroom.
oh. Anita really didn't see anything. Kids, some robbers broke into your parents' house, and it's pretty bad out there, so you need to stay in here, okay? While we get the guard.
The boy kind of kind of looks at you kind of suspiciously and says, "How do we know you're not the robbers?"
You
We
don't.
tell you we were the robbers.
Look at me. Do I look like a robber? I'm huge. There's nothing stealthy about this.
Lie to save her life, so,
Okay. I mean, both of the kids, the boy seems somewhat combative, even though he's obviously terrified. But they seem pretty, especially at the sight of you, Jinku, they seem pretty content to kind of cower half under a blanket in this bed in the corner here for now.
Is there windows in this room?
Yeah, there's 2 windows to the south, kind of in between each of the, in between the beds.
I think we should watch these children while somebody searches for more information throughout the house if there's any, and then we skedaddle.
Not it. I don't like kids that well.
Well, they already seem a little bit scared of Jinku, so I'll just stay here in the doorway. I don't think they're going to try to get past me. And if
Okay.
they do, they're not going to get far.
All right, Jinku's watching the kids. What are the rest of you doing? So you've heard, Jinku conversing with this child in the other room. What are you other 3 or 4 up to out here in the master bedroom?
Probably looking around the room for any notes or information or communications. It seems like they're part of this group trying to collect the bits to open one of these vaults.
Okay. So we've got, there's the kind of tall ornate wardrobe against the wall to the north. There's the large trunk at the base of their bed. Otherwise, those are probably the 2 main things in here to look at, and then, there's other rooms in the rest of the house as well.
I'll go through the trunk and see what I can find in there.
Okay. You
Question.
Yeah, Jinku.
What was the thing that we got from the robot-y thing?
The nimble right, yes. So I guess Jinky, you mentioned this, kind of inquiring about this thing we got from the robot-y thing. Boo, you currently have that. What do you do?
Yes. I'll show it to her.
Okay. So you pull this thing out, and it's kind of wrapped up in a bit of linen. And let me get a picture for you here. So you unwrap this, and it is a kind of oblong shaped, kind of egg shaped but oblong item, kind of a tealy color, and it looks kind of like this, except for that there's 3 holes in the side that are missing. It doesn't have those 3 eyes in it. Those are empty holes, sockets right now.
This thing looks weird.
What does it do?
Said it was some type of key to opening the vault.
Yeah, the notes we have say something about something like this where you had to have the 3 pieces.
I mean, so far from what you guys know, that's about the extent of what you know about what this is. It's involved with this vault somehow, and that there's 3 other pieces to it, but in terms of the actual function of it or what it actually does, you have no idea so far. You haven't found anything or read anything to that effect. None of you have ever seen anything even close to this before. The form is almost it seems almost alien to you, almost unnatural.
Wonder if Raynar wouldn't have more information.
He's about the only one I trust at this point. So we could ask him. Did you guys take a look and see if you found anything elsewhere?
Yeah, so Boo, you were checking the chest with that in a sec. So Zara, Mix, Torta, are you guys going around checking other places at all?
Yeah, I'm gonna just wander the house looking for their office.
Okay. Here, let me get the whole map back up here so you can all see it. There we go. Okay, you can all see this now. So, in terms of this floor, so Torta, you were out there on the stairs when the last guard fell, and combat ended. So where you guys have been so far, the rooms to the south of you on this floor you've been through, there's a bathroom, then there's another bedroom down there, but there wasn't really too much of note in there that seemed more of like a guest bedroom of sorts. There is another door to the north, and then when you guys were in the first floor earlier before you ran upstairs, there was like a library and like a personal study on the first floor that you guys had stopped into, but hadn't looked too much in detail before you ran upstairs since the fighting was still going on. So you have a couple places there that you hadn't been yet.
Is Urstel still bound in this room?
Yeah, Ursula is still bound. Like he is like he's like near unconscious. Like he's got like one hit point, but he's kind of like on the edge of kind of in and out of coherence. So he's out pretty much on the floor in there, tied up.
I'll just yell back. Do we have any more questions for this other guy? Tied up guy?
Well, we could ask where the hideout is. Figure out where his friends are. I need to talk to him.
All right, so I'll go down there and try to ascertain where their hideout is. But what I want to do is, while he's unconscious, kind of prop his body in the window
Mm-hmm.
and lean him out a little bit, and then smack him awake
Okay. So
gently.
Sure. So you smack him awake, kind of leaning him out the window here, and he kind of comes to a little more, kind of sees his predicament, yelps a little bit, and says, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa! I told you all I know."
Well, where were you staying? Where's your base of operation at?
And he kind of looks at you, and then kind of looks out the window, and he gets kind of a glare in his eye, and he says, "Well, that I will take to my grave."
I take like one pinky and raise it, so I'm only holding with my 2 forefingers and thumb.
He continues kind of locking eyes with you with kind of just a sullen glare.
All right, we're down to 2 fingers and kind of start tipping him backwards.
He's still glaring.
I'll let go.
All right. So you let go of this guy, and he kind of falls silently out the window. And like you see as he goes, like he's still glaring at you as he kind of tumbles forward out. And you hear, the sound of him hitting the cobblestones below. And you also hear about maybe 30 seconds afterwards someone shouting outside that there's a body in the street. And somebody get the guards. And you kind of hear some small commotion starting down there.
I'll just relay back that the guards are on their way.
Okay. Boo, so you were checking out this chest. You go over to the large chest and you initially try to kind of jostle with it, and it is locked.
Hey, can any of you guys pick this lock? I'm no good at that, and I am a little bit tired and unable to unlock more things with magic today.
How big is the trunk?
How big is it?
Yeah.
It is about probably about 4 foot wide and about About 4 foot wide and probably like 3 foot deep, not counting like the lid, but like 3 foot deep in terms of like space in it.
I'll pick it up over my head and throw it on the floor, trying to break it.
Okay. Give me a strength check for that.
I'm just tired, apparently. Jinko
Nice.
is not smashing very well.
No. So this kind of bounces off the floor. Like it gets like you see some like kind of chips break off. You kind of mess up the kind of beautiful woodwork on the exterior of this thing. But it doesn't seem to open. Zara, you were saying something?
Jinku is doing great tonight.
Jinko is very tired.
This is right after the fight, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I come back. I still got 4 arms to go. We just start smashing it.
Okay. All right. So Torda, you start wailing on this thing, and so as you're doing so, like after a few good smacks with these spectral arms, you manage to kind of bust open the top. Like the the top kind of falls, like the lock falls loose, and it kind of comes open here. And inside the trunk, you find kind of various folded clothes and shoes. Nothing of too particular interest, but as you keep wailing, like you keep wailing on this with whatever remains of these spectral arms, and there appears to be a second compartment in this chest that is kind of in the bottom part, like it kind of slid out from the front. It didn't really have it didn't have like an obvious handle or anything, but it like slides forward out of the front from the way it's kind of jerkily getting smashed out of this chest. And in here, you find what look to be a couple of robes that are red and gold in color. And you also see a ring in here as well that looks like this.
That looks pretty cool. These bathrobes, it might be useful to mix and brew.
They are pretty nice robes. Like they're not bathrobes. Like they're robes. They have the hoods. They're pretty nice actually. Very fine fabric. But like they're mostly kind of like a deep red color, and like all along the trim, like around the edges and like around like the openings of the sleeves and around the edge of the hood, are all this kind of slightly kind of shimmery gold type fabric.
I'm a fully nude frog. They're bathrobes.
Fair. Fair enough. Zara, what are you doing on this? Is Zara smashed open the chest? Are you going and checking anywhere? If you're saying something, I cannot hear you at all.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. The mic won't always pick me up.
Oh, there we go. Okay, now I can hear you.
Southwest room yet?
Yeah, that southwest room was like a guest bedroom. There was like a bed in there and like a small desk, but there wasn't anything too much of note in there. And then there's the first floor. If you scroll the map down, you can see the first floor down there as well.
Did anybody go in that room to the north by the staircase yet?
Not yet, no.
Can go there. Oh,
Okay.
yeah. this sucks on a trackpad.
That's okay. I'll get it uncovered for you here. So, if you kind of push open this door on the north end, just above here, this looks to be a ballroom. It doesn't appear to have been in use too recently. It's a little bit dusty. But in here, like, the walls of the place are covered with these gilded mirrors, and there's these tasseled tapestries that hang like between them. Stained glass lamps on the walls. There's a fireplace, a very grand fireplace on the northern end of this room that has a stag's head made out of blown glass above it mounted. The floor of this is all veined marble, white marble, and it is polished to like a mirror-like sheen. You can see yourself in it as you come in here. And from the ceiling, there are several crystal chandeliers hanging, 2 of them. And there is a mural painted across the ceiling that looks to depict some kind of orgy, but that's all you can really make out of it.
Well then.
But other than that decor, the room is empty. It's just an empty ballroom.
Okay.
Okay. Do you go anywhere else?
Scrolling. I guess.
Yeah, the rooms to the north at the bottom of the stairs, just below you. That was the library and the personal study that you guys had popped into for a second.
Confused. What room?
So if you're looking at the first floor, the 2 rooms like just to the north of the stairs, there's a large room which was the library, and there's that small room that's got like the little mat in the middle of it. That was like a personal study.
I guess I go down to the first floor and check in that personal study.
Okay. So, Zara, you head down the stairs, again, all the way, throughout the top of the stairs, on the stairs, down to the grand halls, you kind of step into it, there's still bodies everywhere. So you go into this study. So in here, there is a 10-foot square canvas wrestling mat in the middle of the room. There are velvet armchairs and small statues of naked men on pedestals and tall mahogany bookshelves around the edges of the place. And there is a mahogany desk in one corner that looks to be covered with papers.
The desk.
Okay. All right. So you head over to this desk and kind of start sorting through some of the papers here. And there are quite a few different ones that seem to be of interest. And so let me read some of these to you here. So, the first one is kind of written in a kind of a fine hand. Someone who clearly knows their penmanship. And it reads the date, 4th of Uktar, 1491 DR. They have treated us like fools in the wake of the Lord murders with so many vacancies among the lords, and with Yala's lineage, it should have required no effort at all for her to be elevated to her rightful place, for the Gralhans to be elevated to their rightful place, so that she could guarantee the prosperity of the Gralhans for future generations. Instead, they have taken our money, they have taken our favor, they have spat in our faces, they have closed their ranks against us once again. There is, so like this appears to be kind of like a journal entry. And there's a few others that are dated like it throughout that same year, 1491 DR, which speak kind of the bitterness of the Gralhans who feel excluded by the ruling council of the city. So there's one from the month of Nightall 21st. At the fires of Cimmeril last night, Lord Berenger spoke to me of a curious matter, Neverember's enigma. It seems that the former open lord kept some monstrous secret, and now word of that secret is beginning to spread. There are those who believe a grand game may be beginning. I sense in this an opportunity to right the great wrong which has been done to Yala. So it seems that from these notes, which you kind of infer seem to be written by Orond, Orond Gralhan, the guy that you guys killed. It seems like over the next few weeks, he tried to get himself involved in this so-called grand game, and their resources were kind of limited, but he thought outside the box a bit and tried to get some inroads in some places. So you find another note that says, or find another journal entry that says, we've identified the gnome who has been keeping surveillance on RN Dalakar, agent of Lord D. Please advise. Or I'm sorry, that wasn't a journal entry. That was another piece of paper. Looks to be a report. Let me see. Okay. Sorry, I misunderstood the note here. That is a report written in a different handwriting than the journal entries so far. Separate small piece of paper. We have identified the gnome who has been keeping surveillance on RN, Dalakar, an agent of Lord D. Please advise. A few weeks later, Dalakar had stopped watching over Raynar Neverember, and this other person, who seems to be referred to by the code phrase Eagle, followed up and discovered that Dalakar had ended up in the employ of the Xanathar Guild. And there's another report that says, Dal must still be acting under the orders of Lord D. No other explanation for sudden shift of allegiance. You continue kind of parsing through the various notes here. And you find some more recently dated entries from Orond relating to this so-called grand game. And it says, there are 3 eyes with which Neverember's enigma may be seen. The first eye is held by Xanathar and lies somewhere within his lair. Bullet reports that this lair can be accessed from teleportal sites within X's sewer hideouts, provides a potential means by which this eye could be seized, but the absence of a synchronized key, these teleportal sites are useless. Another note later on reads, the second eye has almost certainly been taken from RN by the Zentarim. It is more important than ever that we discover where M has hidden his head. And then another recent note, this one is in a similar hand to that report from the so-called Eagle. Xanatharians are riled. Word on the street is that something was stolen from them, but not the first eye, the Stone of Galore. And then there's one last piece of paper, which appears to be written by Orond once again. What if the key to Neverember's enigma, which Xanathar was known to hold in his possession, is not, as I have suspected, the eye, but instead the Stone of Galore? If so, then what better thief than an agent of Daggult's, perhaps even sent there for that purpose? The gnome has taken the stone, I am certain of it. If we can find Dalakar, we can seize the key, and we can take the stone. And that appears to be the extent of these notes. And I will get all of these turned public for you so you can see them.
A lot of information and a lot of names.
That was a lot of information and a lot of names. So here are these 2 notes. The Gralhan reports on the grand game. So feel free to drop the link to some of those.
Those are huge.
They are. So feel free to link to those in your own personal notes if you want to keep track of those. So yeah, so you find all that.
Cool.
Indeed.
We should probably be getting out of here, guys.
Yes.
Yeah, Mix, if so, like you, it looks like upstairs you were kind of standing still near that door, and you can, since you're on the second floor of this villa, kind of looking over this balcony, you can kind of see a little bit of the area around the villa, kind of see some of the roads around, and one of the roads, excuse me, that leads to the northeast, heads towards the outer wall of Waterdeep, and there is a guard tower out that direction. And you do see from where you are, Mix, that there appears to be a small contingent of guards coming up that road in your direction and in the direction of the villa. And you do also see in the sky, you see a couple of griffins take off from the direction of that guard tower to the northeast.
Yeah, guys, we need to go. Grab those robes, grab the ring, grab the note. We're out of here.
Meet you guys
Grab everything
back
we
at
found
Trostro.
and
Yeah, that sounds good.
I'm gonna hop out the window so I can search the guy's body that I pushed out the window, not thinking to search him first.
Okay. Let me see if he has anything of interest here.
We need to leave a note on the lady. She owes us money.
Hey. Cat. Get down. So you look through Ursula's pockets here on, well, actually, hold on a sec. One second. When you go over to that window that you dropped Ursula out of, do you look out of it before you jump?
Oh yeah.
Okay. So when you look out of that window down below to where Urstul was, you can see that there are a few Water Davians kind of around him down there below. So I'll let you know that before you jump.
I mean, I'm not too known in the city. They shouldn't be able to chase me back.
Okay. All right. So you jump out and nimbly land on the ground next to Urstul here, and a couple of these other just kind of general Water Davians that are here like see you jump out of this window, and they're like, "Wait, hold on! What do you know? What happened here? The guards are coming."
There's some bad guys up here. They just threw me out the window. Did you see that?
Who? What's happening?
I don't know. There's somebody inside. They're bad people. I was visiting the Grohans and they attacked us.
One of the do a performance check. We'll see if that was convincing at all. Okay. You kind of relay the story. These Water Davians, and they seem pretty convinced that you are telling the truth here. One of them kind of calls the other ones, "Quick, go grab some weapons from your home in case they come after us." And you see one of these, there's like three people at the moment that are kind of around Urstul here. One of them kind of runs off to a nearby house, seeming to go get some supplies in case these bad guys that you're talking about happen to come after them before the guards arrive. And what do you do then?
I'm gonna start patting him down.
Okay. So you pat Urstul down. As you're doing this, the other two that are standing there are like, should you really be disturbing the body there?
Oh, this is my friend. I'm trying to look for his family heirloom so I can get it
Hey,
back to
Devos.
him.
How you doing?
I think he had on a ring. They would want that back.
And like one of them kind of looks at you and kind of shakes their head sadly, and it's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that, friend. I can understand wanting a family heirloom." And so you kind of look through him here. You don't see other. You don't see too much else of interest. There's a small pouch with 10 gold pieces in it, but he doesn't really seem to have much else in his pockets here. Just some carrying gold, and then like the dagger that he had for when he came up and slit the guy's throat when they first busted into the place. But it seems he packed light.
With that, I'll just take off, like nearest alley, so I can get on
Sure.
to dark ways.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Devos, I know it's just the little first bit. There's the song in my intro.
Is there a way the
fits,
rest of us
but
can get out of here
the rest of
without
it's
all
still
these
there.
citizens seeing us?
Yeah. So the rest of you, I mean, the way you came in is the back door through the pantry. And that pantry door is the opposite side of the house from the direction that the guard is coming from. Like, the guard's coming from the direction where they would likely come through the main front gate of the place on the northeast side. So if you're going to try to avoid them, back pantry is probably the best way to go there.
Okay, I'm gonna snatch up these robes, and if somebody didn't grab that ring, I'll grab it too and get out of here.
Okay. Are you all following?
Yep.
Janko, do you say anything to the kids as you leave?
Oh no.
Oh no, just get out of there. Okay. All right, so you all head downstairs, kind of making your way through the mess, and back out through the back alley pantryway. As you guys are coming down the steps to the back pantryway, you can hear.
Can I do something?
Yeah, Zara, go ahead. What are you doing?
So, as part of my infernal thing, one of my legacy things, I can now cast invisibility on myself.
Well, there you go. Nice.
So, I'm gonna go invisible.
All right, so you guys are coming down the stairs. Zara goes invisible. You guys can hear as you're coming down these back stairs, like over, like above you, like in the kind of garden area of this villa. You can hear the sound of griffins coming down from above, seemingly coming to land in the villa garden here. And you kind of start to hear some sounds of like that large iron gate. Like it was, partially open from the orc that had kind of ran out of it, but you can hear them kind of messing with it and opening it further. You can hear it kind of creaking on the northeast side. All of you roll, except for Torta, because he's already off on his own. The four of you, well, three of you, because Zara's invisible, so she doesn't really need to stealth. The other three of you roll stealth for me.
I'm gonna go into gaseous form.
Wow, the dice do not like me tonight.
You have a gaseous form? That's cool.
One of my new spells.
Oh, very cool. Nice. All right. So, Mix, you go into a gaseous form. Boo, are you doing anything? Just checking.
Nope.
Okay. All right. So, Boo, like you guys quickly dart. You and Chica, you kind of dart across the street and kind of, this is still kind of, it's nighttime. So there's a lot of shadow everywhere. You're kind of among all these tightly packed buildings here in Waterdeep. And it seems like most of the commotion is on, the side that the guards are arriving on and the side of the house that Urstel got pushed out a window on. So this side of the house so far isn't particularly populated with anybody. So even though Jinku was a little bit loud in stomping away from this place, the rest of the ruckus in the area managed to work out. And so you all managed to get away and make it back to Troll Skull without incident. And, of course, you guys are filthy. You guys are covered in blood and like it's a mess.
Oh, before I get back to Trosco, are the gazers still around?
Roll a perception check for me. So, Torta, so you guys are all kind of heading back in the direction of Troll Skull. And Torta, as you're kind of hanging on your own, away from the rest of them, or at least the two that you can see, you do look up above towards the roof, and you do still see some of these gazers floating along. And the two that you can see up there do seem to be following you all. But they don't do anything aside from just float up there, ominously.
I'm going to stay on track with one of them.
Okay. So, I mean, in terms of, like they are pretty much staying above whatever streets and alleyways that Jinku and Boo are going down, kind of just silently hovering above and, like, just over, like, out of eyesight from Jinku and Boo below them. And they are kind of following along all the way back as you guys are heading towards Troll Skull here.
All right. Once they're safe back in Troll Skull, do they take off?
So once they get back to Troll Skull, you do see the gazers kind of hovering around around Troll Skull Alley for a little bit, kind of bobbing up and down, kind of looking around some of the roofs in the area. But after about probably 5 minutes or so, they disappear. They float off somewhere behind some buildings, and you can't see them anymore, and out of sight.
So they can't be tracked back.
Roll a. Let's see here. Roll a survival check for me. For you tracking them here. They managed to throw you off their trail. You aren't able to follow them very well.
All right.
So you make it back to Troll Skull. So as you all are coming up to Troll Skull here, like the two of you and I assume the two invisible ones are still all probably close together. Torta's coming up on its own as well. The tavern in the front is open right now. You got your people that work for you there. They're running the place. You got customers in there. You guys do have the back door on the back of Troll Skull that goes up to the second floor, which is where you guys all sleep. That doesn't go through the tavern. So, just remind you.
Plan.
Just letting you know so you don't bust into a tavern full of people covered in blood.
It probably wouldn't even be the weirdest thing we've done, like walking into that place.
Fair, but yeah, I figured you guys probably didn't realize that your place was running right now. Because it is evening here, and it runs pretty regularly.
Totally forgotten, so
Yep, yeah, that's why I reminded you guys.
We're just great business people, aren't we?
So I assume you guys just kind of head up to your own quarters and try to wash away the evidence, as it were, off yourselves.
I use prestidigitation and I clean myself, and I offer to clean everyone else except Mix.
Mix is still in gag this one, so he's just gonna float through the bar to the bathroom to get cleaned up.
I gotta take a look at that. That sounds kind of interesting. So that was a new spell you got? That was gaseous form? Oh yeah, I see that here. What creature you touch? It's Misty Cloud. Interesting. Very cool. All right. So you guys do all manage to get cleaned off in however form you choose. And you kind of come out of your various washing spaces into the kind of main room on the second floor of Troll Skull, kind of the common room for all you guys. And the things that you had grabbed are there, kind of on the central table. You got these robes, you got this ring, you got all these papers that Zara had brought. That the rest of you haven't looked at these yet. Zara's the only one that's read them. But yeah, these are all kind of laid out on this central table on the second floor of Troll Skull right now.
As we're going over the paperwork, I'll let everybody know that we're followed by the gazers.
They seem to be everywhere these days, don't they?
Now they do, yes.
Yeah, we'll give you a... Here you guys are. Your lovely second floor. So, Torta just told you all that you were followed, and you have all this stuff here on the table. I mean, I guess it is pretty late at this point. Do you guys do anything else immediately this evening? Or do you decide to...
I think we need to put that thing that we unwrapped someplace safe, like hidden.
Isn't there a chest in the other room we could put all this in and put that in the very bottom?
Yeah, there's certainly various chests around in here, like in your guys' various rooms, and like there's plenty of storage in this place, so you could hide it pretty much about anywhere, whatever you guys want to describe.
Okay, let's hide it somewhere then.
It'll kind of croak like, I don't even have a room. I've just been sleeping out in the garden.
I'm sure there's room for you here somewhere.
Well, there is an open room.
See, this room's open.
I pretty much spend all my time in the basement, so
Okay, I'll clean that as
and
my
every
room.
time Mix is just kind of staring at him with an evil, like, little grin on his face.
Oh, did you ever eat that tart I gave you? Mix?
I don't know, did I?
I gave it to you. You didn't say if you ate it.
I probably ate it. Oh yeah, I remember now. It was delicious.
I look at Boo and kind of wink at him.
I assume you guys probably head off to your various quarters and have a rest for the night?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. All right. Well, you all have a good rest here.
Well, as soon as Boo falls asleep, Mix is gonna walk in and kind of cross-legged sit down at the end of his bed.
I've said quite a few times that I cast alarm on all the entrances to my room, so I
That
would
is
wake
true.
up when you come in.
That is true. So Mix, you walk into Boo's room, and Boo is awake, lying in bed, but his eyes are open and he is watching you.
Oh, that's okay. I
Does
just
that
gotta sit
alarm
down
wake
and
the
just stare
rest
at
of
him.
us up?
If I remember right, I think alarm is like a mental alarm.
It can be either. I would
Oh, it can
usually
be
use a
either.
mental alarm. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, good, because Jinko doesn't like to be woken up.
See her. She's cranky.
You wouldn't like me when
As
I'm
part
sleepy.
of my level up, I took a new Eldritch invocation called Aspect of the Moon. You no longer need to sleep and can't be forced to sleep by any means. To gain the benefits of a long rest, you can spend all 8 hours doing light activities, such as reading your Book of Shadows or keeping watch. So I'm just going to keep watch over Boo all night.
Oh, nice.
Because that's not creepy.
Interesting.
Just so he knows that I will never sleep again and he can't get the upper hand on me if I'm not sleeping.
All right.
How do tranquilizers affect that?
One way to sedate a person.
And I guess it sounds like it is what it is. Doesn't need to sleep, but it doesn't sound like it's impossible to sleep. So you wake in the morning, feeling a little more refreshed, maybe a little sore, but you at least feel a little better than you did the night before. And you guys all come back out of your rooms, having your various breakfasts, and all these items are still here on this main table, except for that the Stone of Valor itself, which you guys had hid somewhere. But the robes and things, and the ring and the papers that Zara had discovered are all here.
I assume we would all give him a quick read.
Yeah, I'd assume so. You guys probably all look the papers over and get the information that's in them.
You guys, have you had any interaction with the Xanathar Guild?
We've killed quite a few of them.
The Zentarum we've killed.
Oh, we killed some Xanathars too.
Yeah, that was Xanathar. You killed some Xanathars back when the Brain Puppy Party happened.
Session I missed.
That was like the second session, so that was a long time ago.
That's when Jinku got the dum-dum.
Yep. Yeah, it's been a while since you guys have had like a direct interaction with the Xanathars. Probably the closest interaction to the Xanathars you've had in recent memory is that dwarf called Ott, who had the beholder hat. But aside from that dwarf that you guys rescued from that Zentarum house that you guys torched, before that would have been the sewers.
We didn't torch that.
Yes. Yes.
If I remember correctly, we didn't really even talk to him much, did we?
No, not really. I
That-
mean,
And
Because that's
Boo
when we were
talked to
rescuing our
him.
kiddo, so we were more concerned about that, I think.
Yeah, Zyara and Boo talked to him a little bit, but we were kind of rushed by the fact that we had to get the fuck out of there.
yes. Like, you did have a little bit of a conversation with him, and he was friendly toward you guys. He, somewhat delirious because he'd been tortured there by the Zenorim for a while, and he seemed to think that you guys were part of the Xanthars. But yeah, you guys talked to him a little bit. Mainly that you didn't get too much information out of him, but if I recall correctly, it was mainly that, obviously he works for Xanathar, and I think at the end of your guys' conversation, he finally realized that you guys weren't part of the Xanathars, and was like, oh, snap. But then, was still kind of grateful to you guys for rescuing his life, and he had specifically told Boo that if you want to join up with the Xanathars, I can give you a good word. Something to that effect, if I remember right.
That sounds right.
As we'd gotten with him.
Yeah.
We were trying to figure out why they had taken him and why they'd taken the kid, and that was when he realized who we were.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing you really know from him was, like, when you guys were first getting him out of the rack that he was strapped to, like, he was kind of deliriously going on about how he didn't know anything about the eye. It seems to be what these Zenorim were pressing him on, was about this
Oh,
eye.
I see.
These notes reference multiple times.
Puzzle pieces coming together.
At least would be able to put that together.
Well, and then, of course, there's these robes and this ring that you don't recognize.
We could always go talk to Raynar. See if he has any insight.
Yep. Yeah, let me get the...
He's always been honest with us before, it seems.
And he doesn't seem to have daddy issues, which was concerning at first.
Here's that ring again.
Again.
Well, I mean, you guys do have a few different things you guys can look into, and you have a few different resources that you can check out. I mean, you got Rainarm, of course, that you guys have talked to before. You've got Blackstaff Tower, has quite a lot of research materials and that sort of things, and books if you're going to go that route for checking into anything.
I need to purchase some spell components today as well.
Okay. If you were doing that, that would probably be going over to Corallin's Crown, where they would have the various kind of plants. And, well, I guess it depends, like, what kind of spell components you're needing. If it's like plants and natural things, Corallin's Crown would have it. If it's like weird shit, there'd probably be some other places you'd have to go.
I need diamond dust.
Diamond dust. Well, let's see. Diamond dust. Let's see here. Well, you could check with... I mean, you could check at Embrick and Avi's. They're the weaponsmiths. I don't know if they would have diamond dust involved in any of the work that they do, or if if they've set any jewels and things, that could be something that they have. Otherwise, let's see. Let me check. Let me check on my map here. See what kind of places we got. There are also various jewelry stores around the city where you could probably get a diamond. And of course, you'd have to get it into dust form. Let's see. Let me see other options.
Blackstaff Tower might have some, right?
Yeah, Blackstaff Tower might. Yeah, that's definitely likely. They are a mage organization, so they would likely have plenty of spell components there.
That's where I'm gonna head this today. Or if you guys are heading to Raynar's, I can meet you there.
Okay. You guys splitting up? Boo heading to the Blackstaff, rest of you heading to Raynar's?
Mix needs to perform some rituals so he can get his Book of Shadows.
Okay, sure. So you're just going to stay here and at home and stay in the basement, do your rituals?
Yeah, it's real important for him to do this. He gets a lot of bonuses from it.
Okay, sure. So you can stay here, do your rituals. Sounds good. Boo will take you over to Blackstaff, and the rest of you to Raynar's. Are you taking any of this stuff that you got with you, like the robes, the ring, the papers, the stone? What are you guys doing with these?
Say that I think Zyara, before we went anywhere, would have made like copies of the notes
Okay. Yep.
and
Good idea.
probably done like a drawing of the insignia on the ring
Okay.
and then hidden the originals at the manor, and then they can bring the copies with them.
Okay. Sure. That sounds like a good idea. So, are you just bringing the papers then? That you took the copies of the papers that you had? Yeah. Okay.
Did we want to bring a robe, or are we going to keep those hidden at the manor?
I'm not gonna bring any with me.
Then I guess we're just bringing the copies of the notes and the drawing to Raynar's.
Okay.
Yeah, we can easily explain the robes.
Yeah, that's fair enough. They're pretty simple in terms of design. All right, so you guys make your way out about town, aside from Mix, who's doing some rituals down in the basement. So Boo, you make your way across town over to Blackstaff Tower, and they, readily let you inside. They recognize you there, and you make your way up to kind of the main desk in the center. And one of the kind of attendants to the library here turns to you. It's like, "Oh, hello, welcome back. What can we assist you with here today?"
Yes, I was hoping that you might, on occasion, sell spell components here.
Yes, yes, yes. We do have spell components here of quite a wide range. being the Blackstaff Tower after all, with the Archmage here, of course, we make sure to have a good supply in case we need anything. What is it you're looking for?
I need a pretty good amount of diamond dust.
Diamond
Say
dust.
400 gold worth?
Diamond dust, yes, yes. Well, we certainly do have some I can get for you. If you have the coin to pay for it, then yes, we can certainly give you some. 400 gold worth, you said?
That is correct.
All right. One moment here while I go check into our stores. One moment. And they kind of head off. They kind of head into a door off to the side somewhere to go look around. Do you do anything else while you're waiting for them to come back?
Nope. I'll just hang out and
Okay.
wait for that.
Sure, sure. All right. So they eventually do return, and they have a decently sized pouch of this diamond dust, and they kind of set it across the table you, and they kind of loosen it here and kind of open it up so you can see the dust inside. It kind of glitters in the lamplight here. As well, they should be all told here 400 gold piece weight worth of diamond dust.
Thank you. I appreciate your assistance this fine day.
All right, and so you go on your way, and you have this parcel with 400 GP worth of diamond dust.
I'll head towards Raynar's.
Okay, heading towards Raynar's. All right, so the rest of you are making your way to Raynar's, and you get there before Boo catches up with you. You knock on the door. The butler once again opens it, smiles, seeing you arrive. Says, "Ah, yes, the old Raynar's old friends. Welcome back. Yes, I will go get the master for you." And he heads upstairs to go get Raynar. And he kind of, as he kind of heads up to get Raynar, he kind of motions you towards that kind of main dining room again. That seems to be the common place where they typically have you meet. And in short order, Raynar comes down to meet the three of you. He says, "Ah, my friends, what news do you bring? Have you found anything more out about the situation?"
Do you have somewhere private to speak?
And he kind of leans in a bit at you all and says, "Oh, found something interesting. Well, we can, of course, go to my study. It's a little more secluded than this, of course." And he stands up from the table and starts heading off into like another side room here. Like it opens up, it kind of goes down a hall a little ways. You hear him open a door, and he kind of calls out the hall, "Come, come," and heads into kind of a small study here. It's very nicely furnished. It's got kind of this like nice dark wood paneling along all the walls. There's a stone fireplace on one side. It's very cozy in here. He as he kind of looks around in here, he notices that there aren't really many chairs in here. There's mainly just two large kind of comfy chairs, and he calls for the butler to come bring in a few chairs for you all. And he comes running and brings a few over from the dining table back into the back room. And Raynar kind of says to him, "Well, that we all thank you. Please, we need to speak privately here." And his butler nods and heads back, shutting the door behind him. And three of you are in here with Raynar.
And windows?
There is a window kind of over next to the fireplace, but it currently has a fairly it's a pretty thick curtain that's like drawn over it. It's kind of dim in here. Like there is a small fire in the fireplace. It's kind of keeping the place cozy, and there are some lamps lighting in here. But otherwise, it's fairly subdued. It seems kind of like a cozy reading room, study room type place. So it's mostly dim.
I kind of peek out one of the windows through the heavy curtain and see if Because I didn't think when we were coming in to look for the gazers. See if they're still following us.
Sure, roll a perception check. You kind of peek around as you can, kind of surreptitiously through the window here, and you don't see any.
Okay, we should be safe.
After a few minutes, Boo, like you, arrive at Raynar's and knock at the door, and the butler again answers, says, "Oh, I wondered where you went. Strange that the other three were here without you. Well, welcome, welcome. Come, Raynar's speaking to them privately in his study here. Let me take you to him." And he leads you back into the study, and the door. Three of you in the study, you hear kind of a knock at the door, and it opens, and Boo comes in, and the four of you are now here in the study together.
I'm here, guys.
What time?
Find what you were looking for?
Yes. It's halfway completed.
At this, Raynar's like, "Oh, you halfway through finding out what's going on?"
I don't know about halfway through that, no.
Oh. Yes, I guess it would be hard to tell, since we don't really know all the details. So, what have you found?
The private correspondences that might have something to do with why your friend was murdered, for lack of a better word.
So I take it you found out something from the Growlhunds, then?
What was left of them?
You say this, and he looks a little bit shocked. He's like, "I hope you didn't take too drastic of measures, did you?"
We weren't the only ones there.
And his eyes kind of open wide. He says, "Oh, who else was involved?"
Sure.
There was two groups, the Drow and then the other assassin.
The Zentrums.
Yeah, the Zentrums.
Well, I mean, we've seen the Zentrums before. They were the ones who kidnapped me.
I'll ask him how much he knows about the vault and his father's work there.
Well, as I told you before, all I really know is that it exists. I mean, in terms of where it is or any other details about it, I can't really seem to grasp it. Like I try to remember other things about the vault, and it's like it's like coming to the end of a broken bridge. Like you can see there's something further beyond, but I can't get to it. It's the strangest feeling. But all I know is that it's there, that there's a vault, and I remember my father was something with it, but they're right there, and I don't know why I cannot reach them.
Somebody's messed with your mind?
Perhaps, I guess that would make sense.
We could try knocking the memories free. Or it'll
Well.
kind of start flexing.
Well, I'd rather not resort to violence if we can. I've been roughed up enough recently, so let's not open any old wounds.
Did anybody bring their ring or the robes?
Drawing of it.
Yeah, she drew like a symbol on a piece of paper.
I'll ask him about the ring.
Okay. So he takes a look over the ring here, or the drawing of the symbol on the ring here, and he kind of looks at it like intently here, and he scratches his head. He's like, "Well, no, I'm afraid I don't recognize the symbol, but it seems like it may be a religious symbol of some kind. I don't know what though. Perhaps asking at either one of the many religious organizations here in town, maybe they might recognize it as their own or a rival faith, or perhaps any library may have more information. But I'm afraid I have not seen this particular symbol before. But it seems the ring, the design here seems similar to the kind of signets you would see the parishioners of major churches wearing, to kind of symbolize their faith and their standing in the church.
So it's religious, you think?
That is what it strikes me as, at least. I mean, I remember when I was young, the temple that we used to attend, the pastor there, that he had many rings on his fingers, but I remember he did have signet rings similar to this. And signet rings like this are somewhat common among the higher society of Waterdeep. They often symbolize members of particular families, but this does not look like the Growland crest to me at all. And sometimes people have rings related to their guilds, but this doesn't seem to be any of the major guilds of Waterdeep that I know of. And so the only other thing I can think of is some sort of religious organization or worship, but not quite sure what god it might be. There are many, and I'm not really so much into that anymore, I must say.
I see.
So what reasons did you find that they killed Dalekar?
They believe he was tracking an item that they were looking for. The Eye of Gorman, I think.
Stone of Galore is what the stone is
Stone of
called.
Galore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he thinks of this. He says, "Well, I'm afraid I don't recognize that item's name at all either. But did it?" He kind of looks through the notes here and says, "It seems like it's some sort of key related to my father's vault in some way. Were you able to find this? The Growlins have this stone. Sounds like Dalekar had it, and they were seeking to get it from him. Were you able to obtain it from their possession?"
I think they were looking for other items that fit the eye, like a key to the eye or something, or the eyeball for the eye. I don't know, or the stone.
Well, it seems their plans were not fully realized yet, but if at least one piece of this artifact is in your hand, then at least that's one less piece in the hands of the Zentrim or the Xanathars or whoever else is all involved in this.
And you have no your father doesn't have a workroom or any notes left over from that time of what he was doing?
No, not that I am aware of. I mean, there were the notes that you all had obtained from Kalain that had some mention of the vault and obtaining of these eyes that seem to be mentioned here in these notes as well. But my father did not leave much of a trail of information at all. When he left, it was all very quiet and sudden, and there wasn't much to speak of besides he was there, and then he was gone, and I cannot picture anything else. Again, this feeling of being at the end of a broken bridge is, there's more. I feel it.
I'll look at Boo and Mix. Do either of you work with the mind?
No, my magic tends more towards warfare.
Mix, will
Mixed.
your charmy thing work?
Mix
He's
didn't
not
come
with
with
us.
us. He's at home.
Yeah, Mix is currently doing rituals in the basement.
I'll have to remember to ask him. He might prove useful yet.
Now that would be a true surprise, Torte.
So it seems that, it sounds like you got into a bit of a row at the Gralhans with these other gangs that were there involved. What kind of scene was left? If it was much of a violent scene, I'm sure the guard's going to get involved, and they might not. Well, are the Growlins still alive? Did the Zentrum kill them?
Well, do you want to know, or do you want the guards to show up here and maybe question you too?
Well,
kind of situation?
Well, the last time that you asked me this, I think I will continue on that route of not knowing all of the details. But, if the Grahans are dead, well, they
Not all
were.
of them. Let's just say not all of them are dead.
Oh, okay. Well, that said, a dead Gralhund, a petty noble though they be, they are still a noble of Waterdeep, and the guard may, well, depending on what they can find out, if they're able to trace anything back to you, they may have questions, I am sure.
I think we're pretty well set. We can handle that.
Well, I hope so. I would hate to lose you. The death of a noble is usually punishable by death in Waterdeep. So I hope, for your sakes, that it was the Zentrum that laid the blow.
Ooh. I'll look at Boo and be like, we should have the lady girl on the side, right? And to shrug and croak.
Yeah, we'll address that when it comes, I think.
I put a pretty good story on the street, so we should be okay. And one last question. Do you know anything about Xanathar locations? Like safe houses or storage places, anything like that?
No, I can't say that I do. I'm not involved with the Xanathars, and they don't readily divulge their hideouts and locations. If they did, the guards would be all over them. So I'm afraid I can't really speak too much. I mean, the rumors say that they mainly are in the sewers, which is a vast network of tunnels beneath the city, a bit of a labyrinth down there. And without knowing where you're going, it's very easy to get lost and run into something not so nice. God knows what lives amongst the muck down there. But that is about all I know, is the rumor of the sewers. But
It's not as bad as you think. I've slept in there.
well, I sincerely hope that since that time you have had a good bath.
Oh, yeah. It's required every day, or I wouldn't be here. I think that's all. I don't know much more that we would require from you. Or have for you, even.
Well, I hope that your investigation continues well. And find out whatever is going on with this stone and with this vault and my father. But yes, be careful. Be careful of the guard.
What was the name of the group that Dalakar was involved with?
Well, Dagult Neverember is Raynar's dad.
Oh, I thought that was a cult group that he was working for.
Nope.
Never mind.
Nope. Yep. Lord D or DR is Dagult, his estranged father. All right. Well, where we are right now is the halfway point, just about right. So we will go ahead and take our little 10-minute bio break right now. And then we'll come back and continue our investigations. We will see you at 9:50ish.
Cool.
We're back. Okay, we're back. All right, so I have your conversation with Raynar here, talking about these various things. As he's, kind of leading you out the front door, he kind of mentions to you, "Oh, if you're wanting to look into that symbol on that ring right away, there's a temple nearby, actually, not too far up the road from here. The Holy Hands house. They serve quite a few different deities there, last I recall. Perhaps they might be able to help."
Are they trustworthy?
Well, as trustworthy as any church.
A couple loud croaks escape. As he heads out.
So the Holy Hands house is pretty much right up the street from, well, up 2 blocks and over 3 blocks from Raynar's house. So on this map, if you kind of go down to the bottom right corner, you'll see Raynar Neverember's house is marked with a green pin, kind of towards the bottom of the map, right on Mendiver Street near Zaramtar and Souther Lane. And the Holy Hands house is to the pretty much directly northeast. There's another green pin on Delzorin Street and Copper Street for the Holy Hands house, if you guys want to head there.
Yeah, that's what I'd do.
Okay, cool. So you make your way up the streets. It's kind of a pretty bright, sunny day outside here in Waterdeep. Coming up Mendever, you're kind of passing all the various. A lot of people seem to be making their way down to the big trading market area just to the south of Raynar's place. And you make it over to the Holy Hands house, which is as you're coming up to it, it's a pretty decently sized building. It seems to have like a few different kind of separate wings to the building. It also goes up a few floors, and there's a number of windows on the upper floors. As you're coming up, you see a sign posted outside, listing it as the Holy Hands house, and it says Holy Hands house Inn and Worship. So it seems they have a few different things here, and you make your way inside, and immediately within the front door appears to be what you'd expect in like your usual inn. Like there's a bar nearby with somebody serving food and drink. Most of this first floor has various tables. There's people here eating, and you also see some stairs heading upstairs that seemingly go to the rooms. But around the other 3 walls, like aside from the one where you all came in, you see kind of these nice ornate arches, one in the center of each side that goes out into each of these 3 wings. And you can see from where you're standing, at least, like looking in there, it seems like each of those wings is full of little alcoves, and each alcove looks to have like a different little, like a statue or a figure or something. It seems like this is a pretty multi-denominational type worship space. You can't quite make out what any of the religions are from here. Like you can just see that there are those little alcoves back there, but it seems there's quite a few here. One of the attendants nearby kind of comes up and says, hello, welcome to the House of Holy Hands. Are you here to stay, food and drink, and inn, or are you here to worship?" Is there any particular god you're looking for? We serve quite a variety here, although we mainly specialize in the gods of the the dwarves, the gnomes, and the halflings, and you can kind of see that just from like looking around the room in here that there's quite a few halflings, gnomes, and dwarves eating around in here. But we do have a few others. Please, how can I assist?
When we scan the room, is there anybody in a beholder's hat?
There is nobody in a beholder's hat.
I'll show him the picture of the ring and say, yeah, well, I was curious if you might know which god would be associated with this piece of jewelry.
So you hold out this piece of paper, and they kind of look at it for a moment, and then they get almost kind of a frightened look on their face, and they say, "Goodness! Please tell me you're not here to worship this."
What is it?
Why, this is the symbol of the demon Lord Asmodeus, of course. Goodness, please. If you worship this kind of darkness, please be gone from this place. We don't have no desire to be any part of this.
You know where any place is to worship it? Not that we do. We're on an investigation.
Gods know such demon worship is not allowed. It is quite taboo.
That's what's fun, though.
They don't seem to think that is very funny.
I kind of shrink back and just look at Boo.
I mean, you do have a point, but... So, Demon Lord Asmodeus, huh? I mean, he is all about law and stuff.
Well, I can't really say I know too much specifics about him, but demon worship has been, well, it's been banned in Waterdeep for quite some time. How did you even come about this symbol? Where did you see this?
I found it in the street. We were just kind of curious about it.
Gods, please tell me there's not demon worship returning to Waterdeep. Goodness. Heavens will frown upon us all.
So if demon worship were returning to Waterdeep, who would you tell about that? What would you do about it, friend?
Well, I would take this kind of information to the guard, of course, so they can investigate. And root out these demon worshippers from among our community.
Well, that could be super useful. We could bribe them, or we can actually turn them in.
Well, yeah. I don't really like the guard.
Nobody does. Bunch of killjoys.
Well, is there anyone here that you are here to worship?
Not really, no.
Well, are you here for any food or drink or inn, I guess? They seem kind of visibly uncomfortable. I mean, like you kind of coming off trying to say that like you don't actually worship demons, but they're pretty visibly uncomfortable with this. and suspicious.
Do you have any tarts?
No, I'm afraid we don't have any tarts here. We usually offer fairly simple food for those travelers who come here to worship.
Sort of just turn around and walk out.
All right, how about the rest of you?
I'll follow him.
Yeah. Same.
All right, so you head out in the street. The various gnomes, halflings, dwarves in the area are kind of milling about and around you, going in and out of the Holy Hand's house. What do you do with this information?
The notes don't say anything about this group.
About Asmodeus at all?
With the any like meetings or anything like that.
No, there was no mention of Asmodeus at all, or anything demon related in any of these notes. All the notes that you'd found all seem to be related to this Never Ember's enigma, this stone, and the eyes associated with it, and what secrets they hold.
Boo, you want to go pay Lady Grohan a visit? You can try to strong arm some information.
I don't think I would use too strong of an arm on that woman. She seems quite fragile. But, I mean, maybe, yeah. We could go call on her. I really do want her to make a mural for me.
Wait, are you talking about Lady Colleen, or are you talking about Lady Grawhund?
Oh, never mind. I don't know why I went to Lady Glenn. Yeah, we could go ask Lady Grawhund. I don't know if she'd see us, though.
I mean, we saved her life. At least we'll tell the guards that.
I mean, she did see you all before you knocked her unconscious, and she was fighting with you.
Well,
And she saw you kill her husband.
I wasn't part of that.
I made eye contact the whole time, Torta. It was bad.
How about I go make contact since y'all made a mess?
That might not hurt, yeah.
All right, I want to grab the drawing, and we'll go see Lady Grohan alone.
Okay. So, are the rest of you like going back to troll school then?
I am.
Yeah, I'll do that while he does that.
Okay.
Can I give him a shopping list? I need some dirt and a large tree, some rocks, some moss.
Yeah, sure. You can give them a list if they want. It's up to them if he gives you guys a shopping list of stuff. Are you guys gonna go grab that for him?
I have no reason not to.
All right. Fair enough. Well then.
I imagine you'll need some help carrying all of that.
I mean, I'll pay for people to bring it to us. It's a personal thing.
Oh, Jinku likes carrying heavy things.
Oh, then I need a tree with at least like 4 large branches and a big base. Like just half of it. Like to fit in a corner of a room or something.
We'll do our best. You be safe.
I'll head out.
Okay. So, Torta, you make your way over towards the Grauhund Villa. And as you get pretty close to it, you see that the entire area, like the whole block that the villa is on, has all been cordoned off by the city guard. Similar to the ones that are around, kind of the area right around your place where the fireball went off. But you see that like all the streets going, right into the Grauhunds have cordoned off areas and guards posted at every single intersection there. And there are quite a few other guards still kind of in the area. You see them kind of patrolling around the streets. You do also hear and see above you in the sky, probably about 10 feet or so above the houses, there are a few guards on griffins that are just kind of circling over the villa. It seems like they have a pretty locked down scene here.
I'll kind of stroll through and see if they're like super watchful of people.
Okay. Well, you come up the. Here, let me get the map. Yeah. Doop. Okay. So, around the villa here, and let me grab some. Grab just some tokens of these guys, just to kind of mark some spots. Okay, so these guard tokens that I'm putting on here are just kind of, it's like all the streets leading into Gralhund are cordoned off. So all of these locations along here, all of these have, blocks set up here. Oh, that's Riz. Riz. Alright, I'll mute her for now. Alright. So we got guards cordoned off all the way around the place here. And then above let's see, get some griffin. Oops, that's not what I wanted. Alright, so kind of circling above the villa here. You've got these cavalry riders, griffin cavalry riders in the sky. And it's like each of these posts has probably about 4 or 5 city guard at them or near them. And there are other, like, you do see, like, if you're coming from Troll Skull direction, you would be coming from, basically down Serdun Street. So from the northwest, you'd be coming, from that direction. And, in addition to the ones that are stationary at each of these posts, like, you can see other guards, like, kind of walking, up and down Serdun Street and things like that. So there's a pretty significant guard presence, like, beyond the cordons, like the usual, like, you were here before when you were trying to, get into the place and fake and selling the tarts and stuff. And, there were people out and about in the street, carriages, there were other carts, there were other things like that. None of that is there now. Like, the street is cleared out except for these guards. And, like, around the edges of each of these, at each of these kind of cordon posts, you can see that there's a few, probably locals here that live in the neighborhood that are, trying to, get a look at what's going on, and what's happening. You can see also, like, in some of the houses that are along here, up on, like, the second or third floor, you can see, like, people up in those upper floors, like, have a window open and are kind of, like, looking out, over, trying to see, what's happened. There's a lot of eyes everywhere.
Well, what I want to do is kind of approach and see if they take notice, like they're looking for somebody of a frog description. If they do, I'm dipping the hell out.
Okay. So you're kind of coming up the street here, and like as you're getting close, like the guards here, like they react to you. You hear them, you hear them kind of call out to you and say, "Ho there, citizen! Please, this area is cordoned off. There's an investigation ongoing. Please return to your homes." Roll a perception check for me real quick as you're kind of coming up here on the street. Okay. So, as you're coming up here, like you're kind of like looking, like to your left and right, kind of keeping an eye out. You see off to the left of you are, and like they aren't, they haven't seen you because they're looking, inwards towards the villa. You see those two people that you had talked to after jumping down onto Ursula Floxton's body last night. They're facing away from you, but they look to be wearing the same clothes they were the night before. But they're currently still kind of looking over to that area, like the place where you jumped down and Ursula Floxton fell to the ground is right. Hold on, let me draw it. This X right here is where Ursula Floxton fell out of the window. You can actually see there seems to be like a sheet or a tarp or something of that kind draped over where his body was, and you can kind of see the form of Ursula Floxton's body under that tarp. And these two that you have been, very shortly conversing with the night before, and you jumped out of the window, are, kind of standing as close to the cordons as they can get, but still kind of looking over in that area, kind of talking amongst themselves. You can kind of hear them talking, like what's going on in our neighborhood, like what's happening here. I heard there were, some gang, like, this city's going to shit, that kind of stuff. Kind of talking amongst themselves over here. But yeah, in terms of like recognizing you, they haven't seen you yet, and the guard doesn't seem to be looking for you specifically. He just says to, move along, citizen.
I'll slide up behind the chatty Cathys,
Okay.
the gossipers, and ask them if they've seen where Lady Growhound went.
So you kind of slide up behind him here and ask about Lady Crawlhund, and neither of them turn around at first, but they kind of, you hear one of them kind of say over their shoulder, "Oh, that's what we all want to know." And the other one kind of turns around, and then he sees you and recognizes you from the night before, and he says, "Oh, you were the one that they were after you last night, wasn't it? You jumped out of the window."
Yeah, the bad guys are after me.
"Well, the guard is trying to question anyone that knew anything. If you jumped out of the window up there, you probably saw what happened in the house. They'd probably want to talk to you."
And before they can call for the guard, I'll hand them both 2 gold pieces each.
Okay. Like, wait, as you hand that to them, like, do you book it with that, or are you?
I'll just retreat back and kind of watch the house a little bit.
So you kind of press the gold into these two people's hands, and the one that was about to kind of call out to the nearby guard here kind of looks down at the gold in his hand, kind of looks at the guard over there, and you see him kind of go like, and kind of shake his head. And he kind of just turns back to looking at the house. It seems more trouble than it's worth to him, than the gold piece you put in his hand. So you're currently kind of behind them, almost kind of in this. There's like kind of an open area behind these buildings here. Let's say this X in here, behind these houses, is where you kind of slipped back into right now. It's kind of a back street part of these buildings. Back here there's kind of various refuse around. People kind of use this as there's kind of some trash and things like that back here. It's kind of dirty. What are you doing?
I'm gonna head back to Trosco. With this much heat, I don't want to be involved.
Fair enough. Okay, so you head back to Troll Skull and arrive there. To find the rest of your group inside, upstairs on the second floor. First floor is currently open right now. Tavern's going on. I guess you guys could be down there if you want. Are any of you guys down in the tavern, or are you all trying to stay on the down low right now?
I mean, I'm not really hiding. I'll probably go down and get breakfast and
Okay,
breakfast with dinner or whatever. I take care of my business.
fair enough.
I find Mix. How'd your rituals go, Mix?
I hold up my tome, Book of Shadows, and I point at the little weasel sitting on my shoulder.
Well, I'm glad it was successful. I'm just letting you know one time that further trespass upon my sleep and into a room filled with items that are above your knowledge and station in life carries risk of death on your person.
Mix just kind of chuckles, knowing that Boo can't really do anything to him.
A warning has been given.
Have any supplies come in?
For the tavern? Yeah.
No, the ones that I requested.
Oh, the ones you requested. Yeah. If the other three, they said they agreed to go shopping for you. For the dirt and the tree and rocks and stuff. The dirt and stone, it doesn't seem like has arrived yet, but Jinka probably carried the tree, or the little tree.
Indeed.
All right, I'm gonna go throw all the furniture out of the room.
Or I could help you move it.
I mean, whatever.
All right.
If you're gonna throw the furniture out of the room I gave you, we can move it to the basement where I spend my time.
There you go. We'll move it downstairs instead of leaving it in the hallway or out the window.
I don't need the bed though, but I can use everything else down there.
Oh, I got plans for the bed, so that can stay.
All right, so Jinku spends her time moving furniture.
All right.
Can we pack it like all at once so it's all in one trip?
And it probably takes a few trips. Like there's some chairs in there,
Man,
there's a desk and things.
I'm strong, but I'm not gonna just stack furniture up like a cartoon character and carry it.
I mean, that's the idea I have. You're this very large creature, and I'm this very small creature.
And there's also the issue of pivoting things downstairs, things like
Yes.
that. So can't quite stack everything up all at once. With some of the space, this manor is pretty old. Some of the stairs and hallways going places are a little tight for a massive amount of tall furniture all at once. So, but you do manage to get everything moved down and out of the room aside from the bed that you'd wanted. And the tree moved in there, and you can kind of start situating yourself in that room as a Grung sees fit.
Yes, we're gonna make a frog pond in the room.
All right, interesting.
Well, the grung they have to sleep in the water to keep their skin moist. So
Yep.
I don't want to sleep outside anymore.
And Jinku is 100% behind helping you in this project.
Thank you.
In the the times the last couple of days that you have been outside sleeping, you had mostly just been kind of resting yourself in a nearby like water barrel in the alleyway. You're not
Yep.
quite sure whose water barrel it is. Like you haven't really gotten yourself super acquainted with everybody in the neighborhood yet, but somebody probably has a little bit of funny tasting water.
I mean, it's just dirt. It's okay. Little frog slime. Hopefully, it's not the charm poison where everybody's hungry. Unless it's a bakery or a bar. Hey, I can sleep in our water and we can make a fortune.
There you go.
Oh.
Until one of us accidentally drinks it.
I'll just go down and rub a hand in the stew or the ale. Be alright. Just don't eat it.
You could take your pond water and put it in the ale and everything that people are drinking.
Yeah, when I swap it out and clean it, that's fine with me. Whatever happens afterwards, I don't care.
Mix is gonna smile. He's gonna look at Torte. I'm going over to Quillian's Crown to get some supplies for my experiments. Do you need me to get you any plants for your pond?
No plans, no plans. I don't want to be suffocated in my sleep. This one time, a lily pad got caught. It was very bad.
Oh, that's great. So as you all, are kind of getting toward a little more situated here in the place, night, the evening comes, and you guys have still been, for the most part, laying somewhat low around the Troll Skull, aside from your trip to Rainers earlier. And like you do, see every now and then, it's like there still have been like some guards, posted near your place just because of the fireball incident. It's gotten a little thinner in the past few days. Like it's been, it's now been, probably near a week since that went off. So like there are still some residual here, just kind of keeping watch on the area. But like every now and then you see, some guards, coming up Serdune Street from the Growlhand's place over to your particular station. You see someone's going back the other way, and you guys are like 2 blocks apart. You're not very far from each other. So it seems like there's kind of some cross spread of the city guard being kind of used to watch both Troll Skull Alley in case of more incidents there, and the Growlhand's place for any other incident there. You do notice the 4 of you aside. Well, I guess Porter was here too when that happened. So you do see a time or two among the guards that are kind of going back and forth between your place and the Growlhand's place. You recognize, let's see here. You do recognize 2 figures among them that you've seen before. Barnabas Blastwind and Saith Cromley, who were 2 detectives for the city guard. They had spoken with you all back when the fireball went off. Let me see. Here they are. There's Barnabas. And there's Saith. You do see these two among the guards from a couple times, going back and forth between your place and the Graulin's place. And both times that you see them, Barnabas and Saith, you see them kind of talking to each other. Saith, like before, has his little notebook and is kind of continually taking notes in it. You see a few times, Barnabas with his cane, kind of pointing, at the fireball area where that happened, and like down the street, and then you see him kind of seeming to think to himself, and Seath still writing notes. They're conversing among each other. But they seem to be on the case in the area, trying to piece together what happened.
Does the party tell Mix what they discovered about the symbol? Or
Yeah, do you guys?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't see why we wouldn't.
Mix is gonna look at Boo and says, "That Barnabas fellow, he's pretty intelligent. How about we show him a copy of this symbol and say that we found it tacked to our door?" Might put them on the right track and help us figure out more information.
Not a bad idea. Go ahead and try.
So Mix is going to take a piece of parchment and make a copy of the symbol, and then make it look like it was tacked to a door and ripped off, and walk
Okay.
up to Barnabas and just casually, we've done some research and we found out what this means. It was tacked to our door. We find this quite disturbing. I thought it might help with your case. And he's going to hand the paper to him.
Okay. So you walk up to Barnabas here, and he kind of looks you over, and he's like, "Ah, yes, Mr. Mix from Troll School, correct? Right? I believe we spoke before. I'm sorry, you said
Why, yes, good sir.
you found this tacked to your door, you say?
Yes, shortly after the explosion.
And he kind of looks over the piece of paper here and hands it over to Saith here. He kind of turns it over and kind of, you see him kind of making like a quick sketch of this in his little notebook here. And it says, well,
It turns out it's some kind of demon worship.
Demon worship, you say? Well, interesting. What do you think, Saith? What do you think on this? And you see Saith kind of look up from his notebook and says, well, I mean, we have heard a thing or two about a few little enclaves. So, and we're still trying to piece together why they attacked you in the first place. So, that's an interesting development. Have you heard or were you involved at all at the ruckus that went on at Growlin Villa the other day?
I heard about it.
Interesting. Well, we'll have to see if that. He continues to kind of look at his little sketch here in the notebook and try to you can see him trying to piece something together in his head here. He says, Barnabas kind of, looks at you and says, "We had a few, actually, are any of your companions around in Troll School right now?"
Honestly, not sure. I saw you all and remembered about this and how I wanted to bring it to you. I'm studying alchemy, so I'm practicing in the basement. I have experiments going on down there, actually, I need to get to.
I see. Well, you see, we may have a few questions. As it seems, I mean, from some descriptions that we had at Grawhund, some seem similar to some of you. And so I'm curious, maybe you weren't there, but perhaps some of your friends were. We might have some questions if you know anything else. But if we may stop back later and see if they are in. We managed to. Happy to let you know that the Lady Grawhund was still alive, thank goodness. But her husband unfortunately passed away. But she had some rather sharp words to say about someone small in a mask, which reminded me of one of you here. I'm trying to kind of piece all this together as to any sort of interactions you may have had. But, there are many people here in Waterdeep who wear masks, but it seems peculiar, given you're so close together. And given what happened here recently, I wonder, Well, perhaps we will find out more when we ask a little more later. Can we come by, perhaps later this evening?
Well, we run a establishment there, but I will talk with my companions and see if maybe we can meet in one of the upper rooms, so that we won't be disturbed.
Yes, that is quite all right. Well, Seath, let us make our way back to the scene. I have a few more things I want to corroborate. Well, we will see you all tonight. Thank you. And he heads off with Seath down the street towards Grawhund's place.
So I'm going to go back and share the information and conversation with my companions.
Okay.
This doesn't seem good, guys. Seems like they're a little irritated for killing her husband, even though he deserved it. Maybe we should kill her.
You know the sewer system here in the city. I've been in the outskirts, but not here in the proper city. I could definitely try to traverse my way to the home. Just wondering if there's any guards actually stationed inside.
What about the kid?
I mean,
While they're talking, I'm going to smile and I'm going to send my weasel to follow Seth and
Barnabas? Okay, sure.
Barnabas. Yeah, just kind of staying in the shadows, but close enough where I can hear what they're talking about.
Sure, okay. So, Barnabas and Seath, they continue down the street towards Grawhund's place. And, as you kind of see through your weasel. I assume since that you're familiar, you can kind of see and hear through it, right? Or is it just hearing?
Yeah, mine's smarter than normal, so
Okay.
I can see and hear
You
I
see
can
it
even cast spells. If he walks up and touches them, I could cast a spell and zap one of them from a distance. So
here. Okay. Sure. So, yeah, so you're kind of like watching through your little familiar weasel's eyes here, kind of scurrying around through the edge of the street. And, Barnabas and Seat, they head a couple blocks away, past the guard cordon. And, you kind of see them, looking. They stop over the tarp, or next to the tarp that's covering Urstel Floxen's corpse here on the ground. And you hear Barnabas kind of turn to Seath and he says, It's interesting that the Zentrim seem to have been involved here at the Gralhans as well. And the Zentrim, it seemed like they were the ones that went after Troll Skull as well. I wonder if there was some sort of, maybe some kind of, grudge, perhaps, between them? I mean, Urstel here, we've been trying to get him for quite some time. I mean, he's been heading up at least some of the operations of the Zentrum here for a good while. But seems he at last met his match. And Seath kind of, you see Seath kind of nods. Yes, it is interesting. Perhaps they had some quarrel. The Zentrums had some quarrel with the Gralhund family and the owners of Troll School. Perhaps they all kind of convened together and something went wrong. Some sort of meeting or business deal. Something of that sort. It's difficult to say. There aren't any really records that speak to that, at least from what we've found so far. But perhaps there's something worth looking to. Perhaps we should go talk to the lady Gralhund and the children a little more and see if they have any other information. Perhaps the children will speak up a little more this time. They were a little quiet the last time. I can understand why. The father's body in front of them in the bedroom there. It's quite a traumatic experience for a child. Yes, quite. I can certainly understand being scared into silence there, but perhaps there's something more they have seen, or something more they know. We'll have to question them a little further, see what else we can find out. But the Lady Gralhund, she was very, very insistent about this masked person, at least. Very, very furious. They seem to be our guy, our main suspect for the murder of Orond. Shame. Well, I guess let's get to it then. And Barnabas and Seath, they kind of head around the corner and into the main gate of the manor. And like your little weasel's kind of running up towards here, and one of the guards is kind of posted near the gate, like sees this little weasel and starts kind of smacking the end of his like spear in your direction, like, get out of here, you little rat.
Oh, it can't get inside, so I'll just tell it to come back. And I'll share everything I just learned.
Okay.
All right.
I'll look at Boo and be like, I think it's time we change your mask.
I'll have to think about that.
Okay.
Can you do the invisible thing on me and I'll go pay her a visit?
Yeah. What are your plans once you get there?
Persuasion. If that doesn't work, murder.
All right.
I, we have a bribe that can, remove her as a noble. So I'll need the drawing also of the ring.
How about you take the ring?
No. I'd rather take a drawing. I don't. If I get caught or if I get stopped, I don't want to explain why I have the ring. You got to think above these law-bound citizens. Trust me, the Grung are very lawful. That's why I left.
Mix is going to do a very detailed drawing of the ring. Give it to Torte.
Okay.
Like, no mistaking that we had to have this ring in our possession to be able to do this drawing.
I would assume the smashed chest. She understands it's been found, and I'm sure that would worry her and for her children's sake. I don't have kids. I don't really care about them. No tadpoles here.
And Mix is also going to hand you the weasel and be like, trust me, you get into trouble, throw him at whatever you want me to cast a spell on.
Where am I gonna put the weasel?
It's true.
Oh, he can follow you.
He like I don't know how that works. I'll just look up a like your spell. I don't know.
I'll shrug and tap you and make you invisible.
If I'm holding the weasel like by the neck, does he go invisible with me?
I don't think invisible is transferable by touch.
I'll just inform him to follow you. Don't worry.
Well, we'll see how well he follows a grung that can leap 30 feet in the air. So,
We're up to 35 feet now.
oh, 35 feet now. Going up in the world. All right.
Literally.
All right. So, how are you making your way over there? Kind of across the rooftops, or what are you doing?
Whichever would make sense. If the sky is less monitored by the griffins and stuff that were up there, then yeah, that would be the way.
Yeah,
I don't want like falling or like drawing attention that way.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, in terms of less eyes, like the rooftop would definitely be the better route to go, because there is just like the Griffin cavalry riders overhead keeping watch. I mean, you would be still invisible in this case, but all the guards on the ground are mostly keeping watch on the ground.
Right.
So yeah. Okay. So yeah, so you head that way, kind of across the rooftops, and you manage to make it over to the Gralhund Villa and kind of leap across the street around it and land on top of the roof of the villa.
I would try to go back to that patio where the drow were at.
Okay.
And come back into that room.
Sure. Okay. So you make your way across the roof. And, the balcony that was outside the second floor here is still, pretty much as you had left it the previous day. Like the windows on, the windows coming out of it are still smashed. The door is still open. And you come onto the balcony and look into the room. And you see that like the body of Lord Orond is still in the middle of the room where he fell. You can see that they've kind of drawn around the area where he lies and haven't moved him from that spot. And you can see that the door that goes to the children's room, you can see that door is open. And you see Barnabas and Seath facing away from you, like in the children's room.
No, Lady Grohan.
Not that you can see from where you are.
I'll just kind of watch and try to listen.
Okay. Give me, like, do you come into the room at all as you come and listen?
If I can find a way that would not disturb like the broken glass or
Yeah, I
hanging.
mean, you could come through like the main balcony door. It's like the main balcony door is open, and like the broken glass that's there is a little further down the balcony, from the door, so you'd be able to just kind of go right in there.
Yeah, as long as I could stay kind of, even though I'm invisible, I'm thinking as, you know, a shadow. I would want to stay out of line of sight if they, because I
Mhm.
don't know how long the spell lasts or what breaks it or anything like that. So I'm thinking if I
Fair.
become visible, I want to be able to dart.
Fair. Yeah. Okay. All right. So, you make your way into the room, and again, everything in here is pretty much as it was left. Oron's bodies are in the middle of the floor. There's still, bodies around of the various guards that were here. The drow or two that you guys punched to death. Um, you know, it doesn't seem like anything has been destroyed. Like the chest at the foot of the bed that you smashed to pieces is still, there in pieces. Um, Roll a perception check for me as you're kind of, coming into the room and kind of looking over the scene here. Okay. So you do notice, like, as you are kind of looking around in the room, like you're looking at the body of Orond here on the floor, and you notice that on his right uh, middle finger is another ring that matches the one that you guys have, and you do take note of that.
All right.
Okay. So you come in here, you're kind of heading towards that room, and as you're getting closer, you can see Barnabas and Seath in there, and you can also kind of hear what sounds like Lady Gralhund seemingly talking to her children in here, and Barnabas is kind of kneeling down a little bit, kind of holding himself up a little up with his cane, kind of bringing himself down to these kids' level, and you hear him asking like, "Well, children, I know that you've had a bit of a day. I know it's rough, and I'm sorry that you had to see this, but we do have a couple more questions for you here, if you would be willing to tell us anything else that you know or that you saw that happened here yesterday. And like I said, I know it has been a bit of a traumatizing experience, but please, if there is anything else that you know, please let us know." And Lady Gralhund here, she's kind of, you can see her kind of trying to like comfort her children here, and kind of like holding them by the arm or by the shoulder, and kind of trying to give them a little strength. And you hear her kind of you hear her kind of saying into their ear, being like, "Well, come on, I'm sure you saw something else. And it looks like they busted into your room, right? Did you see anybody? Who did you see?" And after kind of a long pause of silence, um, the girl, like a little girl, kind of speaks up and says, "Well, there was a big lady. She had like a big trunk, and she was kind of scary, and she broke open the door, and then she watched us while they looked around the house, and then they left. But she was so big. I'd never seen someone like her before. Did she kill our dad? And Barnabas kind of looks at the kids and is like, well, I'm afraid I don't quite know yet. That's what we're trying to find out. But I appreciate you telling me this. And you see Seth kind of noting things down in his notebook here. And, Barnabas kind of turns to the kids again and says, well, is there anything else at all? Anything else that you saw? And, the boy kind of pauses for a moment and then speaks to him and says, well, I didn't see it, but there was a loud explosion, and then I heard our mom screaming about Dad, and I didn't see anything. They locked us in the room when the bad men came, but they blew him up with something. And you see Barnabas kind of nod and go, yes, that seems to be the case from how it looks. Well, Lady Grothland, I am again sorry for all the trouble here to your family. We'll try to help clean up the mess as best we can. Thank you for your time and for the information. I think we may have some things to look into. Thank you. And Lady Grothland kind of replies, yes, thank you, please. Anything you could do to find the murderer of my husband. Please, bring them to justice. And you see Barnabas and Seth kind of turn around, and they kind of look, you see them kind of look at each other for a moment, and they come out of the kid's bedroom, and they kind of pause and kind of look over Auron's body for just a few seconds, and then they head out the master bedroom door towards the stairs leading down.
I'll give it a good couple minutes so that I know they get out of the building.
Okay.
And then approach Lady Grohan.
Do you stay in that room the whole time, or do you watch anything at all? From
I'm watching them and the interaction.
Okay.
And then as soon as they're gone, I'm going to be focused on making sure she doesn't leave.
Okay. So, you hear them leave and go downstairs, and you kind of hear, you aren't able to make out what they're saying, but you can kind of hear, you can recognize the tone of Barnabas's voice. It kind of carries a bit. But you hear him talking to someone on the first floor, and you shortly thereafter hear kind of a group of footsteps moving out of the house, and you hear the sound of the footsteps out in the yard, and then kind of the creaking of the iron gate, and you hear this group of footsteps heading out into the street.
All right, once I feel it's safe, I would approach her and I can't disenchant the invisibility, so I'm just going to talk to her in an invisible state.
Okay. What are you saying?
We're gonna first lay down the ask the question about the ring to see if she notices and reacts. We found this ring in your trunk. Explain.
So your voice kind of comes, out of nowhere here in her room. And, like, immediately, Lady Gralhun kind of grips her children really tightly and, like, backs up into the corner of this room and says, "Who the hell is there?"
None of your concern at this time. Answer the questions and I'll leave peacefully.
And, you say this, and immediately she starts screaming at the top of her lungs for the guard.
All right, it's time to go eight fist. I'll break out the celestial arms and start pounding on her.
Okay. Hold on a second here. Let's see here. Okay. Would though? Well, I guess you'd still be invisible, but or wait, does attacking breaks the invisibility, right? Quick.
Yeah, he would break when he attacked.
Okay. All right. Well, I put her in the combat tracker. If you want to roll, your celestial fist going on.
Yep, I'm opening that up now.
Yep. So, I mean, you like they don't see you quite yet, but they see that these like celestial arms kind of manifest. These aren't covered by the invisibility,
Right.
and they kind of appear in the air. And Lady Garland looks absolutely furious, and the children look completely terrified, and like they're screaming now as well. And you're like, you kind of hear, you're starting to hear like footsteps rushing across, like on the first floor towards the upstairs.
1 second, I'm looking to make sure. It's going to be 6 attacks total with the arms now. My strikes and their strikes.
Dang.
I'm trying to make sure that's right. No, it'd still be 5. It'd still be 5.
Okay.
I can spend another key point and make it 8. So there'd be 3 key points spent to make 8 attacks. Roll to hit on each attack.
Yeah, I think that's how we were doing it the other day.
We'll do one at a time for the 8 hits.
Okay. All right. Well, one of these celestial arms that you have kind of lashes out and connects with Lady Gralhun, and her scream is immediately cut short. And you appear, like, this breaks your invisibility, so you appear in front of these two now absolutely just terrified children that you just murdered their mom in front of. And she falls to the ground.
I'm gonna like bristle up as tall as this 4-foot form can, and like bellow out the sack in the throat, and just kind of growl at him, "Don't say a word, or I'll come back for you," and then split.
All right. So you rush out onto the balcony. And like at this point, you're here. Like the kids are still in there screaming, they're crying, they're absolutely traumatized. It's horrific, and you can hear the guards coming up the stairs, You come out on the balcony. There's 3 Griffin cavalry riders above you, circling around, and you're invisible now. What are you doing?
I'm gonna throw pass without trace and try to disappear as quick as possible.
Okay, what does that one do?
It gives me a +10 to stealth, I believe. 1 second.
Okay.
Damn, where was it at?
Well, if it's like a stealth bonus, we can always just kind of add that.
It's a +10 to stealth.
+10 to stealth. Okay. Well, go ahead and roll stealth for me. It's like you come out the balcony, you see these Griffin riders are like, and kind of press up against the wall, and roll your pass without trace. Very nice. Okay.
So 37.
All right. So yeah, very very stealthy. So you manage to kind of deftly along the wall, get down from the balcony, and you kind of leap as close as you can, hugging the wall over the exterior wall, and back out into the street, and then also kind of deftly dart across the middle of the street after some guards pass, and out into just kind of some of the nearby alleyways like before. So while this is going on, back at Troll Skull's place, the rest of you you're all upstairs doing whatever you do. It's the evening time. There is a knock at your back door.
I ain't answering doors right now.
Next will go.
Okay. All right, so Mix, you kind of head down to the back door of the place, down the stairs, and open the door, and you find standing there Barnabas Blastwind and Saith Cromley. They're like, Barnabas kind of speaks up as you open the door and says, "Hello, Mr. Mix. We are here. We have some questions for your compatriots."
Oh yes, come on in.
Okay. So you let them in, and Barnabas and Seath come upstairs, and you notice behind them, outside, is a group of about 10 city guards, and Barnabas and Seath tell them to wait outside and follow you upstairs.
I've already told my compatriots everything. So they should have their stories ready.
Okay. So Jinku, Boo, Zara, what are you where are you guys at? Actually, let me get the Troll Skull map up here for you. 1 second. Okay. So yeah, so the door that they're coming up those stairs in the northeast corner. That's the stairs that lead down to the exterior back door of the place. So yeah, Jinku, Boo, Sarah, where are you guys at?
Probably my room experimenting.
Okay, Jinku.
I'm with the kids playing.
Okay, you're in the maid room. Okay, And Zara, I don't know if are you there, Zara, or no?
Hello?
There we go. I can hear you.
I swear to God, this mic is having issues.
Well, it's pretty old. So yeah, where are you, Zara? In the house.
Probably in the main room with Jinku and the kids doing just tarot spreads on the table.
Okay. All right. So, Jinku, Zara, you're sitting there in the main room with the three children here. And Mix comes up the back stairs with Barnabas and Seath in tow. And as soon, Barnabas and Seath both step into the room and they kind of take a look around. And they're like, you. Barnabas is like, you, ma'am. In the back corner. What is your name?
Jinku? Why?
Well, Miss Jinku, I'm afraid that we have some rather serious questions for you, and perhaps your compatriots as well. Is there a small person here who wears masks? We'd very much like to speak with him.
What about?
Well, it's in regards to a rather serious matter. We have some questions in regards to his involvement.
I'll get up and I'll go to Boo's room. Like, the city guard's here.
Fine, I'll go see what they want. Make sure the door's open, though.
Okay. So, Boo, you kind of come out into the main room here as well. And Barnabas and Seath kind of look at each other here. And you see Seath kind of writing in his notebook a little bit. And Barnabas says, well, you two, I'm afraid I'm going to have to put you under arrest on suspicion of the murder of Oron Gralhund. I'm afraid I'm going to have to take you down and ask you some questions with the city guard.
I don't even know who that is.
Well, we
And
have
she's
spent...
legit not lying when she says that. Like, she doesn't remember that guy's name.
Barnabas says, well, that may be the case, but I'm afraid we have some information that leads me to suspect that you and your friend here, at least, perhaps all of you, may be involved here. But we're going to have to ask all of you to come down with us, but you two specifically, I'm afraid, are under arrest at this time for the suspicion of this murder. And you see Seath kind of step backwards and kind of look down the staircase to the back, and he kind of motions, and this contingent of 20 city guards comes up the back staircase and kind of piles into this main room here, and comes over to you, Boo and Jinku, and make to bind your hands.
I look to Boo for direction.
I don't think we really have a choice unless we want to murder a bunch of city guards here. We can always do that later. Let's go with them.
Did you say that
I
out
assume
loud or
they're kicking all of us.
I hope he didn't say that out loud.
I'm guessing he didn't.
No,
I hope not.
of course I used message to tell her that.
Fair. Okay. We'll give you that.
Yeah, that would have really screwed us.
Yeah. So yeah, it makes you like you're asking about all of us here, and see the counter student says, "Yes, I'm afraid. Well, these two are I'm afraid it's compulsory for all of you to come with us. You don't have much choice in the matter. I'm afraid this is rather serious." And they lead you out the back stairs, and the three kids are kind of left here alone in confusion. You kind of turn and see as you guys are getting kind of walked out of the place, and you see them kind of conversing with each other. What happened? What did they do? And we will leave it there for tonight. Dun dun dun.
We gotta stop leaving witnesses.
Yeah, that is a little problematic, isn't it?
Only we'd have killed the lady at the beginning. This wouldn't be happening.
We don't know that.
All right, well, let me shut down the stream here. Thank you all for those of you that are watching. We will see you next time. Have a good one. Good night.